How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Sixkilla. Welcome back to Sekimeiya. It's time for us. Excuse me. It's time for us to continue with the final chapter, I believe, and jump back into our quiz, which we are almost certainly going to fail. Especially since it's taken me a month and a half to get this far, to be fair, and I have only vague memories of when I started. So make sure when I get them wrong, you leave a comment in the bottom telling me what the right answer was. I'm sure most of you already know, but I sure as hell don't. But at least it isn't going to give us a bad ending or something, so let's carry on, shall we? Someone had been there right as the group had appeared on January 5th. Excuse me. Atsuki knew that thanks to the last time he'd been in... God damn it. I don't even remember the entire conversation we just had then. Let me just quickly see what the last said thing was. Oh, here we go. Where are we? Why did we travel days into the future? We arrived at the day. From our point of view, the lights went off. The alarm must have... This is from the last episode, which I recorded yesterday. Was the deadline this time? And was it Shiroya? Whoever it was must have been here recently. Someone had to be here. It must have happened before our arrival on this day. Someone had been there right as the group had appeared on January 5th. There where? What are we talking about? Fuck it, let's just guess. The event room. You realised it, didn't you? I was so overwhelmed that I didn't notice it. When I went to the event room, the room was cold. Had Shiroya run to get the Sekimeiya? I carefully walked to the cabinet, moving aside the curtain and tried to open the glass. It should have been locked, but it wasn't. The glass was partially open and I could put my hand inside. I felt the Sekimeiya's surface and confirmed it was still there. I only realised the Sekimeiya was in the cabinet when I felt it. That means it wasn't glowing. Although it was kept cold, the Sekimeiya was powered off. It had been used moments prior. How can it be that it was powered off within the cabinet? When the cold hit it, it always regained its glow immediately. The glass was partly open, cooling down the whole room. Was it due to that single detail? Or was it something else? If I'm not mistaken, the longer the travel, the longer the Sekimeiya spins powered off. I've been under the impression that using the Sekimeiya would be futile. I hadn't known that the shutter wouldn't have been there in the past, so I figured travelling through time would only make a bigger mess of things. I didn't know that what I had to do in order to travel forward in time, but if I simply travelled enough time back to appear before our arrival, I could meet the person who had secretly trapped us in January. I walked out of the bedroom. The attic was empty and everyone had gone down. I left through the staircase and went around the 6th floor by hugging the right wall. Attentively walking through the darkness, I reached the crystal floor. I heard knocks and voices coming from the storeroom. It appeared Isla hadn't thought to keep the door open. Perhaps she hadn't been aware of the missing handle. Without making a sound, I slowly tiptoed to the event room. The air was still cold, and when I raised the curtain, the Sekimeiya's glow appeared before me. It's still here. I'm a little surprised. The glass wasn't closed, so I could reach it easily. Without directly touching it, I took the Sekimeiya out. I just want to go a little while back. It should be simple. This room is very cold though, so it might not be a good idea to stay here if I want the Sekimeiya to gather energy. I walked to the hallway and entered room B5, which wasn't in the range of the lower temperature. Then I left the gemstone on the floor. With how dark it is, even if the others search me, it'll be hard to find. The lights went off when Sai's watch read 9:03. I need to arrive before that point, and now his watch must say almost 9:20. I need to leave the Sekimeiya. Oh. How far back do we need to go? I need to arrive before 9:03. So it's only been 17 minutes. Well, we go back more than a minute per minute, right? So 10 minutes? If I wait for 10 minutes, I doubt I'll be able to go back 30 minutes at 9:30. I'd say for about 25 minutes, so that at least at 9:45 I can travel 45 minutes back. I think that is it, based on all the travels, and especially everything I've just learned. I thought we'd worked out that 1 minute was more than a minute back, especially since, you know, Shiroya jumped... Oh, she didn't jump back, did she? She jumped forward like a week. But there's no way it was sitting there for a week, right? So, I don't know. I don't have a way to measure the time by myself, though. I can't measure the real time, but I might have a way to measure minutes. You know, if I was concerned that I might look like an idiot, and that I didn't already think that you people already knew that I was an idiot, I would be concerned about my answers here. But I'm not. The security room is locked, so I don't think there's anything on the crystal floor that isn't size what. There are a bunch of computers on the office floors, but I need to access information to look at the time. I can only think of the kitchen and the attic. The refrigerator was working, so the oven should be too. There's still electricity, so I should be able to count the minutes that passed with that. Faint voices were still coming from the storeroom. Like before, I ascended the stairs without making noise. I arrived at the kitchen and kneeled in front of the oven. When I pressed the on button, a round light lit up red. I set the lowest possible temperature and rotated the timer toward 22 minutes. Immediately, a quiet buzz indicated that it had begun to count down. I closed the door and walked back to the bedroom, where I lay on the same bed. Unless the Sekimeiya is found, this should work. I'll come across whoever set this up, and most importantly, I'll appear before the alarm does anything. Was I going against Shiroya's wishes? I couldn't care anymore. If it was her, I need to know why she's done everything. I didn't let myself fall asleep. A number of minutes had passed and nobody had come back up. I walked to the kitchen. Less than 2 minutes remained on the timer. In front of the oven, I watched the indicator rotate until it finished with a beep. I can go now. I pressed the off button and went down the stairs. 2 floors down, I stopped abruptly. The group was coming upstairs. I took a step aside and hushed my breathing. Unaware that I was there, they passed by and walked up silently. One of the sounds of their movement had faded. Once the sounds of their movement faded, I kept going. The Sekimeiya was still behind room B5's door. I felt it through my sleeve and instantly determined that it had built up considerable energy. I had to quickly withdraw my hand to avoid harm. This should be enough, but I wonder if it'll work as I want it to. 25 minutes must have passed since I'd taken it out of the cabinet. Without hesitation, I rapidly forced my hand through the wall of heat until I contacted the smooth stone. Ah, coffee. Did I change places? I spun. The darkness around me was identical. Wait, the shutter isn't here. I stared in awe. I could see the streetlight within the night, illuminating the snow around it. I was in the lobby of the tower. A light from the reception desk confirmed that. It did work. The alarm hasn't gone off yet. However, when I tried to open the door, it was still locked. I also noticed that I felt very tired. I really wanted to lie down. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed in my ears. Had it come from hallway B? Someone's there. Was it Shiroya? Slowly, I moved closer. I stopped still. No sound could be heard anymore. I didn't know what to do, and I was more than a little afraid. If that was the person who'd killed everyone, I was finally in real danger. The recording had guaranteed my safety for a long time, but as it had already occurred, the promise of my well-being had expired. Huh? What? Though I couldn't see it, I looked at my hand. It hadn't hurt for a while, but it was where I'd suffered a painful injury in the elevator. Amazed, I opened and closed it in succession. I could feel the injury was gone. Why? I travelled to the past with it before and it didn't disappear. It must have had to do with a replicated location, but my attention was again taken by resuming footsteps. Are they Shiroya's? I couldn't deny it, but I wasn't sure either. They must have just entered the event room. Are they planning to travel through time? The alarm will probably be activated from there. I'm not sure what the best course of action is. Should I change the past to prevent the alarm from going off? That could be dangerous, though. I could hear faint sounds, but I couldn't make them out. Trying to quickly come to a conclusion, I waited helplessly from a distance. Oh wait, if this is Shiroya, she must have entered from the storeroom. Isla might have entered the tower by following her steps. If Isla was able to enter from the outside, the door must have been open. That means that I might be able to leave right now. I tried not to panic. Freedom was potentially in reach, but I couldn't let myself be noticed. Fuck, that's the alarm! A loud sound came from behind me. When I turned around, I saw the streetlight beyond the glass disappearing. The shadow was beginning to cover it, and before I knew it, it was no longer visible. No, it doesn't matter. It's going to lock the other exit. I stepped back, placing my feet on the floor as slowly as I could. Then, feeling the wall, I walked to the next door. Hallway A extended beyond me. Was the other person still there? I couldn't hear anything. I didn't want to run in case the door was closed. I stepped to the left wall and walked as I counted the rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has to be the storerooms. It's not even closed. When I looked through it, I saw a light. It was very faint, but it illuminated the narrow walls slightly. Are those the stars? What? No way. Atsuki? From behind, I heard a voice that made me jump. You... It was her, wearing clothes I hadn't seen in a long time. Are you Shiroya? What? Yes, where are we? I just appeared here. Both of us just appeared here? The Sekimeiya was activated, the range reached to the storeroom. Hold on, isn't that... Behind her was the hallway B door, and on its edges was a dark outline caused by the smoke, however it didn't look dry yet. Wait, that... She looked back and realized the same, and most of the ceiling lights were off, like they had been in the morning. It's the smoke, right? Yes, but doesn't it look different? What? I'm not sure where we are, I just appeared here too. Could we have been back at the beginning? Before asking anything else, I got closer to the hallway. A sound from the other side caused me to stop. A door had closed. It seemed like nobody was coming, so I slowly continued until I gripped the knob. Then, when I looked through the door, the dark fog clouded my vision. Oh fuck, don't breathe! What? Edna, Isla and Sai were on the floor. It was the start of the incident. I couldn't believe it. I'd been so close to escaping, but it hadn't been permitted. I had no idea what was ahead of me anymore, but the tower held me in its grip like a python. I lowered my head and saw my own hand. Exposed to the light, I could see the injury was still gone. Then I noticed something else. I wasn't hungry or tired anymore. Those sensations had also disappeared. Are we on the morning of the 15th? I turned around wearily. Shiroya was there, but I still felt that something about her was different. She didn't feel like the person I'd entered the tower with. Are you really Shiroya? The real one? What does that mean? Who else would I be? What do you remember? Please tell me everything. What? I don't know what you mean. We got trapped here and a bunch of things happened. What happened? How'd you end up here? Huh? A lot of things. Do you remember everything? Late into the day, we were in the lobby and I went to the bathroom. There I activated the Sekimeiya and appeared on the 30th of November below that gem shop. Then a few days later I entered the tower and touched the Sekimeiya. That's how I just appeared here. Wait, that's all? What about appearing after you'd gone to the bathroom? Do you remember that? What? No, I found the Sekimeiya in the toilet's water tank and went a very long way into the past. Are you really the real Shiroya? I really don't understand what you're telling me. She stared at me with confusion, as if she had no idea why I was so skeptical. Wait a second, that sound from before was the door, right? It sounded like it came from the right wall. I think so. It must have been that one then. That's where Naomi died, and where I travelled for the first time. If the smoke was just released, someone might have been there. Just been there, since it's where the temperature regulation cabinets are. Were we really at the beginning? Just like that? It didn't make any sense. If we'd always been present, we would have been found on many occasions. Would we change the past then? I really wanted Shiroya to be telling the truth. If she was, she would get through everything, but I knew she had to keep the truth from me before, and I believed her. She had kept the truth from me before, and I believed her. We might have just heard the culprit. I've no idea why we're here, but only a few people should be conscious at this time. I couldn't hesitate. The real culprit, the person who had broken the storeroom's handle, could have been present, low to the ground. I scurried to the crystal room. I turned to Shiroya, who was following me. At that point I noticed something intriguing, but I couldn't stop there. We entered the room, and I closed the door behind us. Did you see the door to the lobby? What about it? We just left it open. Oh, does that matter? You remember, right? When we met everyone else? Sai pointed out that it was open, and Katai said that that was his doing. I'm pretty sure it looked exactly the way we just left it. I see what you mean, but please answer one thing for me. Why are we here? Did something happen after I travelled to the past? Are you telling me the truth? Do you not know what happened after? I don't, I just told you. I appeared on the 30th of November. I stayed at my apartment while my past self was in the hospital, and a few days later I entered the tower. I have no idea what happened there though. The Sekimeiya was already in the cabinet, and I touched it since nobody was in the security room. After that, I appeared in the lobby with you. Now we're here. I didn't know what to think. While I was aware such lengthy travels were possible, what she was saying didn't sound right. Had she travelled to the future from early December? Why had we appeared at the same time then? But it was impossible for me to think that she was lying. Her voice sounded as sincere as always. When I'd activated the Sekimeiya from room B5, had I perhaps travelled to the first days of December? I was incredibly confused. If she was telling the truth, I couldn't explain what had happened to me. Wait, you said you travelled to the 30th. Did you try to save Mia? I couldn't. I appeared too late for that, but I did change the past. She cut herself off, as if doubting what she was saying. I'm trying to understand what you've said. Don't worry, even I don't understand anything of what I lived through. I'm not lying, though. Then I'm not sure it would help if I told you what happened after you left. Another version of you was there, but it wasn't you, right? No, I have no idea who that was. Well, we weren't able to leave when the time came. I'm not sure what happened, why or how, but the lights went off and we couldn't get out. You remember the recording, right? It was real. Wait, what? Yes, it did happen. It wasn't a trick. It still doesn't make any sense, though. I can't wrap my head around what had happened. You said that you touched the Sekimeiya in the event room, days before the 15th, right? Yes. I see. What the fuck then? I don't get anything. I thought I might have been caught up in your travel when both of us appeared in front of the hallway B door, the location where we were on the morning of the 15th. But that makes no sense. And look at my clothes. I wasn't wearing these on the 15th. You're right, actually. Were you wearing them when you touched the Sekimeiya? As she shook her head, my attention was grabbed by a cabinet I recognised. That's where the Sekimeiya was, right? Yes, and look at the wheel. It's said to be cold. I wonder it's not damaged yet. Wasn't this the one with a crack? Yes, it was. I unlocked its lid and both of us looked inside. What? I don't get it. Sekimeiya was there. Someone must have left it here. Yes, which is what I don't get. When we woke up, it was in the event room, still in its cabinet. You're right. I took the Sekimeiya out. Although the cabinet had been set to 0 degrees, it wasn't cold, likely because it had been recently set. In contrast, though, the Sekimeiya was burning, forcing me to double layer the cloth of my sleeves. It's set to 0 degrees, but the cabinet isn't cold at all. It could have been set just now, so it didn't have time enough to cool off. God, the Sekimeiya is burning though. Shidoya reached out to me and I reflexively jumped back a bit. She didn't do anything though. Sorry, when I touched it in the bathroom, its surroundings were incredibly hot. I could feel the heat, but it's nothing like then. Do you know more about how the Sekimeiya works? I know nothing, and even less with what you've told me. It's working, so if we really were at the start of the incident, wouldn't touching it put us outside? Maybe. That's what I was thinking, but it should be hot enough for that. Once again, I had the opportunity to escape. The chance to escape? Once again, the chance to escape had appeared right in front of me. Could it have finally been a genuine opportunity? Let's touch it. I nodded and got closer to her. Slowly, my hand reached for the Sekimeiya in defiance of the burning aura around it. However, the instant I contacted the gemstone, it vanished. Huh? The Sekimeiya wasn't there anymore. It hadn't appeared anywhere else either, as I could still feel the burn on my fingers. This is what happened before. It teleported and we didn't travel. Oh. I couldn't believe it. All we wanted was to leave this place. But it was a hope constantly rebuilt only to be repeatedly crushed. Wait, no, it can't be that. I followed Shidoya's eyes and almost fell back from shock. The cabinet had closed, and the curtain neatly covered it again. What the fuck? It didn't fall, right? She denied it. The cabinet had closed without making a sound. Could we have travelled back in time to a point before I'd unlocked it? Why hadn't we teleported though? Suddenly we turned to the door. Someone was running through the hallway. As they did, we ran to grab the doorknob and open the door. A bit of smoke remained in the air and nobody could be seen. Didn't seem like we'd gone to the past. However, those rapid footsteps were still audible in the distance. It had to be the person responsible for our imprisonment. We ran behind the sound, covering our faces. They'd gone up the stairs and the grey door was unlocked. We went up, hearing the echoing steps far ahead. If they were going to the attic, we couldn't slow down. When we got to the 6th floor though, the crack of a door closing resounded through the air. We hadn't been fast enough. Damn it! As expected, the attic door was locked. Had it been Naomi? She'd been the one with the key. Frustrated, I looked at Shidoya, who had a key in her hand. What? Why do you have it? I don't know. I found it when I entered the tower in the mechanical room. I found the rusty key in a drawer in the security room as well, but how is it possible I still have them when my clothes completely changed? I frowned along with her, as it sounded very strange. She hurried to unlock the door and revealed the narrow staircase. Barely any light illuminated the steps. Following Shidoya, I began to silently ascend them. When we reached the top, Shidoya looked through the small gap between the door and wall. Then she turned to me. Oh, we got a question. Should I save before this? This seems like an important changey the future one, as opposed to is this the correct answer one? But before she could face me, my surroundings shifted. Let's go with that one. Your perception of what occurred is gravely mistaken. Before Atsuki, Shidoya's figure vanished. Okay. What? Did she travel? I ran up the stairs to look through the door. Nobody was there. But something was on the sofa that left me dazed. 2 Sekimeiya were there, and one of them was powered off. Next to them, I saw a set of keys. It was Naomi's. Was Naomi here? Did she touch the Sekimeiya, teleporting Shidoya away? Naomi and Shidoya had disappeared, however Atsuki didn't know something else had too. With them, something had also disappeared. The briefcase? It was the suitcase that Naomi had been holding. Atsuki saw both Sekimeiya lying on top of the sofa's cushion. I was right about that one. I think I got it wrong though because I didn't write suitcase. I wrote briefcase. But you know I got that right. In spirit, I got that right. Why are there 2 Sekimeiya? Were there 2 from the beginning? Is this really why Sai had one in his hip pack once? Where did Shidoya appear though? Could she have been back on the crystal floor? I took a step back, hesitant to walk into the living room. My footprints would stay on the floor, and we'd never see them. Wait, no, Shidoya couldn't have gone to the past. If she had, she would have shown up immediately after her disappearance, right? Could she have gone to the future? Is that really possible? Or what if she went far enough to the past to appear outside the tower? The range picked her up, but not me. It was likely not a very lengthy travel, but I'm not sure how much I can trust the range. And Naomi must have been here. Why did she run up the attic with the Sekimeiya just to travel through time? She didn't know we'd unlocked the way in, so she might think she locked the Sekimeiya in here. Which is strange, after all, the attic was locked when we first came across the door. I don't get it. The Sekimeiya disappeared from the crystal room and immediately Naomi was bringing 2 of them up. At the same time, another one must have been in its original cabin. What the hell happened before we woke up? How many Sekimeiya are there? It was so confusing. Naomi had to still be in the tower, but if Shidoya also was, why had she not come back? Could they both have gone to the past but only Naomi reappeared in the tower? Suddenly I realised I had to go back downstairs and found myself bolting out of the attic. The storeroom. Now I know it leads outside, and its handle must have been taken off at this time. And if it was Naomi, I might get there before it happens. Shidoya could no longer have been in the building, but perhaps she was outside. As another chance to escape presented itself, I found myself gathering foolish hope once more. Geez, have our hopes not been dashed enough? Almost no smoke hung in the air, and I could hear people on the same floor. I was not the only person there, but my only interest was the room I ran to. In the storeroom, I rapidly shut myself behind the secret wall and approached the door. In the dark, I felt for its handle. It wasn't there. It is here, I can leave. Oh, God damn it. I couldn't believe it, but I gripped the handle and turned it with all my might. You gotta be kidding me, it's locked. Wait, no, of course it is. That's why it was ripped off, so we couldn't unlock it with the key that we just found. I ran back to the hallway. We'd found the rusty key on the floor, in front of the event room. If I get it and unlock the door, I'll definitely be changing the past, won't I? The police might even see me and set everyone free. All of that no longer mattered. The real Shidoya had likely appeared somewhere, and I had a definite avenue of escape. I wasn't even aware of the possible consequences that would come, so I couldn't care about them. They were abstract things and escaping was concrete. Where the fuck is it? It was right here. There was very little light, but I couldn't see the key anywhere. What the fuck? I just want to leave. I didn't want to accept it, but the key wasn't there. Was it not dropped yet? Although it was ridiculous, I went back to the chilly storeroom. Perhaps it was dangerous, but the culprit had to arrive there relatively soon to detach the handle. Wait, is that right? Will the culprit really come here? When we found the secret wall, a single set of fingerprints was on it, meaning that it had been opened one time in the recent past. I swear I just saw those same fingerprints right now. Does that mean that nobody will come until our past selves find the mechanism? Alternatively, what if they come from outside and won't touch the other side of the wall? That doesn't make any sense though. How is it possible we only saw one set of fingerprints? What about the ones I must have just left now? It was so strange. Did it mean that the past had changed? Was everything going to happen differently? Where the hell is Shidoya? If she somehow went to the future, she'll definitely come here when she appears. Is it possible she's outside and won't tell the police just so that she can avoid changing the past? The key isn't in the hallway. The handle hasn't been taken off. I left extra fingerprints and 2 Sekimeiya in the attic. This cannot be the same morning. After all, if I'd been here since the start, I would have been found. What the hell's going to happen? Is everything going to be different? What about our past selves? If the past was changed somewhere, I'm no longer the other Atsuki who's currently here. I had to stay in the storeroom, merely hoping Shiroi would come. I had no desire to go back to the attic either. The Sekimeiya would clearly never aid us, and I didn't want anyone to slip into the storeroom while I wasn't present. What the hell is all of this? When I finally found Shiroi, she suddenly disappeared. There's no way I'm going to spend 12 more hours here from the start. I have no idea what the fuck is even going to happen. How did everything turn to this so quickly? I took a moment to breathe and calm myself. Panicking wasn't going to get me anywhere. Didn't Shiroi say that she'd found the rusty key in a security room drawer? What if it was her who changed the past? If she grabbed it days ago, it wouldn't be in hallway A now. And if the world changed independently of her actions, could the key currently be in the security room? I can't try to find it before everyone wakes up because the alarm locked the room. The key was in the security room days ago. Katai was surely who dropped it then. It was earlier than I anticipated when the sounds came from the hallway. From the lobby side, a group of people approached where I was. Huh? Is that everyone? This isn't what we did. We went to the security room the first time we stepped into this hallway. However, the steps went to the crystal room in front of me. That's the room where the gemstone was stolen. Why'd they go there without entering the security room first? From behind the wall, I was able to pick up a voice. It was Sai's, although I couldn't make out the words. Do they know what happened there? Why though? It's so strange. They left the room not long after and walked closer to the stairs. That's Katai talking, isn't it? I focused as much as I could to understand what he was saying. Elevator won't move. Alarm disabled it. Sorry, Isla, but there's no... What the hell? This is entirely different from what we experienced. Everyone went up the stairs, leaving behind the bizarre silence. They didn't even unlock the security room, so I can't go to see if the key's there. It was evident there must have been a change in history, but where? I hadn't willingly changed the past, so someone else must have. Why had it had such a particular effect on me though? Did I possess memories of the past reality because I travelled from it? That didn't quite make sense, but I knew the answer wouldn't be simple regardless. Is that it? Did a person alter reality? Or is what happened something else? But most importantly, what was I supposed to do? I had no idea. Nothing was guaranteed. If the past has already changed, no matter what I do, I'll have no direct relation to the Atsuki who just went up. That means my priority should be to find Shiroi, who was in the same position as me. Where could she be? If she travelled through time and another deviation occurred, she might not exist in this world anymore. Assuming that was actually the case, was finding her conceivable in the first place? I couldn't even know that, seeing as I was already neck deep in the nonsensical. Neck deep in the nonsensical, that's a great phrase, I like it. Once again, I didn't have to wait very long before I heard some of the others come back. Who's that? It's not everyone who went up. Quietly, they walked past the storeroom. Following them, another person came from the stairs, crossing in front of the storeroom. A few seconds later, someone else did too, but they didn't enter hallway A. What the hell is happening here? Why is everyone silently walking around on their own? At some point, someone briefly entered the storeroom and left without saying anything. After listening for a few minutes, everything occurred in reverse. Several footsteps went up the stairs in a small group. A bit later, I heard a single person going up, followed by another shortly after that. What the fuck just happened? Is everyone gone again? Nothing else could be heard on the crystal floor, but I had no idea what any of those people had done, or who they'd been. The silence continued for some time, and eventually I was tempted to step out. Multiple people had walked toward the security room, but I didn't know if they'd entered it. Could one of them have been Katai? No one seems to be here, so I could go check if it's unlocked. I stepped out of the secret corridor and opened the way out, just a crack. Nobody was in hallway C. I slowly walked the other way. When I tried to open the security room, I found it to be unlocked. Oh, well, the screens are off. This is what happened to us. They're all shut down at the same time. It seems it happened again despite all the differences. I couldn't waste time, so I hurried over to the drawers. I doubt it's still here. What's most likely is that Katai has... I cut myself off. The key was there, deep within the drawer. Although I could no longer be certain that leaving the tower was what I had to do, I couldn't help but feel a brief thrill at the prospect. Was the universe going to allow it for once? Back in the storeroom, I walked to the hidden door, nearly out of breath. The handle was there, and so was the keyhole. I inserted the key, which confirmed it was the right one. Really? Is leaving this place simply not possible? It wasn't working. Although the key was the right one, it wasn't unlocking the door. This is absurd. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Do I wait 12 more hours here, hoping Shiroi will just appear and the exit will open? And then what? 2 versions of us remain forever? This is ridiculous. There has to be something we can do. I had the rusty key, so an old thought came back to me. Unless I go back to thinking about thought-up loops, I suppose, there could be something that would work. The culprit took the rusty key after killing Katai, and walked out of the tower through the storeroom door, which was open. They created a location outside the tower where they were holding the key that could be replicated. Then, they re-entered, and used the Sekimeiya to go back in time. In the past, they appeared outside the tower holding the key, so they were able to unlock the door and re-enter with something that they'd obtained outside, like a knife. You mean Sai? They left the door open, so that their past self could exit with the key and create the replicated location. Could I pull off something like that after all? I still have no idea how the replicated location works, but I could try it. I'll step out and spend a long time outside holding the key, then I'll re-enter and travel to the past as many times as needed to appear outside holding the key, so that I can unlock the door and let my past self out. I can't really construct it in a cleaner way. I stepped out of the secret partition, so that another self of mine could unlock the door without alerting me. My knocks from before would be their cue to do it. Great, I'm just gonna have to be here all my life. I knew that feeling all too well. My plan had failed, but I couldn't know why. It could have been viable, but if the police or citizens was observing the surroundings of the tower, for example, it probably would never have worked. It was possible I wouldn't have been able to unlock the door from the outside either. I sat down, defeated. I sat on the cold floor, waiting for the door to open. It seemed the last hope that remained until being able to leave at 9 o'clock. Was that going to happen, or was I going to wait another 12 hours just to be faked out again? And would the secret door even open? Ever open? Would I see Shiroi I'd just been with again? I didn't bother thinking. There was nothing else I felt compelled to solve, as the march of time alone would decide everything. Soon, after I rested my jaw on my knees, I heard people returning to the crystal floor. I knew everyone was outside, but I didn't want to show myself. If I had to wait all day again, I would do it peacefully, alone. When I stored the key in my pocket, I noticed something else. Another key had disappeared. The one that opened the locker that wasn't Naomi's. Where did it disappear? I'd only just realized it, but it must have been a result of one of my last 2 travels. Alright, we need to wrap this one up here because we're out of time for this episode. We got a lot of those questions wrong. I did, sorry. I'm not going to put the onus on you. It's my fault. But we are getting closer to whatever. I don't know, the resolution, the solving of the mystery, and getting out of the goddamn tower. That would be nice too. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.